All right, hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to make a couple of gift boxes. The holidays are coming up and I like to do a little something every year to make something for the family that's a little special, a little handmade. So sometimes I do cards, sometimes I do tags, I do all different kinds of things. But I was watching Margareth from Seven Plaza, and she just finished making this absolutely stunning, like little, what do you call it? Little boxes. She's got a storage thing. I'll link her video down below. But so it gave me the idea to make some little boxes to put some treats and stuff in for like stocking stuffers. So this was the first one I made. And as you can see, it's not quite tight enough. So then I made this one, much happier with this one. It does open, but when you shake it around, it doesn't move. So this one's much more secure. So I'm really quickly just going to walk you through how I make these. I'm going to then make several more, and then I thought we could decorate them. So I have this paper. This was actually got for me by my mother-in-law. She found it at the thrift store. Thank you, ma'am. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 7" by 7". So I'm doing a square kind of profile here. If you want to do a different shape, you'll have to have different measurements, sorry. But I'm just doing a 3x3 square, and I'll show you why you want a 7x7" piece in just a moment. So I will quickly cut this down. And I know this is a little big, so I might not be completely in frame. I apologize, but this is the only cutter I have that can cut larger paper like this. Okay, so I have a 7x7" here. And then I'm going to take this larger piece that I still have. By the way, this is like almost the perfect size for a card, this little leftover bit. So you could use that for something like that. And I'm going to trim this down to 3 1/8 inch. That might seem a little strange, but you will see why in just a few minutes. So I'm going to go with 3 1/8. And then we can move my big cutter out of the way. Okay, this is also a little too big, so I'm hoping I can get this in frame. Give me 1 second, make sure I'm in frame. Okay, so this is our long skinny piece. This is the one that's 3 1/8 inch on the shorter side. And now I need to make a couple of marks. Actually, let's start with the smaller one. Okay. So this is what's going to be actually the base for our box, and this one's a little bit easier to do. So I want 2 1" scores and 2 1" scores. So I'm going to score at 1 inch, 2 inches, and then I want to go 3 over. So 1, 2, 3, I'll score at 5 inches, and I'll score at 6 inches. Then I'll turn this around and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So 1 inch, 2 inch, 5 inch, and 6 inch. So then I don't know if that will focus for you guys or not. It usually doesn't like focusing on pure white. But I should have 4 little 1 inch by 1 inch squares on the side, and then 2 1 inch longer bits with a 3-inch square in the center. So then moving on to our other piece, I want this to be a little bit larger. So the box, like I said, this box here is 3 inches by 3 inches. I want the cover, you can kind of see it here, to be just a little bit bigger. So that's why I did the 3 1/8 inch. That's what this bit is here. I'm gonna do the same thing on the top, but I'm gonna keep the sides the same. So here I will go to 1 inch, 2 inches, and then again I want 3 1/8 of an inch. So 1, 2, 3 is at 5 1/8, 5 1/8 inch, and then I'm just going to come over 1 more inch, so 6 1/8 inch. Then I need to do another 3 1/8 of an inch. So 1, 2, 3. So I'll go to 9 1/4. So it looks kind of something like that. And then we're going to get rid of this. This is not necessary. So I will quickly cut that off, and you can just cut it if you want. It doesn't have to be 100% precisely exact, but I want these as gifts, so I want them to be a little nicer. So I'm actually going to use my X-Acto knife and my metal ruler with a cutting mat to just take off this extra bit. Okay, so that's gone now. Then I want to make, this is going to be so hard for you guys to see. Hopefully the green mat is helping keep things in focus. So this is a fold, this is a fold. So this is a side, this is a side, and then this is just how we're going to attach it. So where there's the 2 and the 1, this is where I want to make my little cutout for the top. So I'm just going to measure 1/4 inch in, a 1/4 inch in, same thing down here, 1/4 inch in. I'm gonna move this a little bit just to make my life easier, and 1/4 inch in. You're not going to be able to see the inside of this, really, so I'm not worried about making marks on it. If you are worried about making marks on it, you can back it with something else or stain it up, whatever you'd like. And then I'll do the same thing here. So 1/4 inch. Or sorry, 1/2 inch. I'm doing 1/2 inch here, not 1/4 inch. I do apologize. You could do 1/4 inch, but then it's going to give you a really thin, oops, stay still please, really thin border. And I want a at least fairly substantial border. For the 2 templates that I made as test pieces, I used a much thicker cardstock. This is very thin comparatively. So hopefully that won't be an issue, but you guys will find out with me. Okay, so now I have that, and we want to cut out this piece in the middle. Okay, and then that should come right out like so. Also, I just remembered it's probably easier to do the folds before you cut that out. So that's something you might want to think about doing. I did not think about it. So, because once you cut out that center bit, it gets a little harder to control how the paper folds, even if you made score marks. So I'll come from this side, so I'm not working with the more flimsy area. And where's that score? There it is. And then I've got one more right there. Okay, and that is the base for the outside of our little box. So it looks like that. I do apologize, I'm a little shaky today. I had too much coffee. But anyway, so that's done. So I'll set that to the side. And now we'll work on the actual box. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this up a little bit better just so you can see. So there's a score here, here. I know it's wobbly. I don't mind. This is just so you guys can see a little better. And then a line here, and a line here, and a line here, and a line here. Okay, so it looks something like that. I'm really not drawing straight today, am I? And what we want to do is we want to make a couple of cuts and get rid of a couple of flaps. So the easiest way I've found to do this for myself is I'm going to mark the top two little sections and the bottom two little sections. So that's what we want to cut away. And then on the ones right below it, we want to miter them a little bit. So you want to take off a little bit of, whoops, my pencil's running out. Take off a little bit of an angle coming in like this. I'm hoping this is making sense. I swear it's actually really easy once you get the hang of it. And honestly, she probably, Margaret probably does a better job of explaining it than I do. And I'm not exactly going to follow these marks. I'm just showing you guys what I'm doing. So this will also go like that. Okay, so I will just go ahead and trim those off. And I'm going to go ahead and freehand this. Just because I don't need, this one's just an example for you guys. So come in at an angle here, and then this gets cut off there. So it looks something like that. And whoops, I did go a little crooked here, so I'll just fix that. Okay. So again, I'll do a straight cut where these two are. And then I'm going to come in at an angle on this one and do a little bit of a miter here. And then I'll come in at a little bit of an angle here and cut off this whole section. I don't know what it is about that section, but I'm not getting it straight. There we go. So it should look like this on both sides. So let me go ahead and cut the rest of these. Whoops. That's not safe, is it? How did it even get loose enough to fall out? Be very careful when you're using cutting tools, please. There we go. Like, why can't I get it in? I'm going to tighten that back up. Honestly, I probably need a new holder. I've had this forever and it just doesn't seem to want to grip anymore. Okay, yeah, that's moving around too much. I'm going to set that to the side. I do have this other little cutting tool, so I will finish this up really quick with this. All right, and I got to clean up this piece a little bit. That cutting tool I forgot also kind of sucks. So I'll have to figure out what to do about making the rest of these in a minute. But so basically it should look like that. And then I will start folding everything in. Move the cutting mat. Okay, so we have that all folded up. And what I've found kind of helps is to fold this little piece back again, because it's just going to kind of get in the way while we're trying to attach everything. And then I'm going to start with these little flaps, the mitered bits. I almost stabbed myself in the finger with my little tool. I'm going to put just a little bit. It doesn't need a lot of glue. We just want to make sure that we're getting nice and attached here. And I'll fold those in and fold this up and make sure that the sides are lining up with each other before I give it a good press down. And then I can attach the overlapping flap. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Okay, so there is part of our box. I will go ahead and glue down one of these sides. I don't want to glue both of them. I just want to glue one. And then we'll have a little bit more to work on there. Just making sure everything's nice and smooth. So I'll set that to the side and then I'll work on this. Now to give this a little more stability, I do want there to be a window, but to give it more stability, I'm going to put a piece of acetate here. And I've decided, since this is really just a template for you guys, I'm not going to bother about being too precious with any of this. I'm just going to eyeball it, and then I'll make off screen the ones that I'll actually gift to the family. So just make sure that fits in there, covers the whole thing, but isn't getting in the way of where you want to fold. So that looks perfect. I will glue that down, and I'm just going to be careful not to get too much glue to the center, or else it will get on your acetate and you'll be able to see that. So there's that. Oops. Just making sure it gets a pretty good adhesion there. And then this extra little flap here, we're going to glue to the bottom there. Okay. By the way, if you want to like ink your edges and stuff, not that one, I didn't ink the edges on that one, this one. I recommend doing that before you glue everything down. It just makes it a lot easier. And then you have your little box that goes into there. And now we need to make something to pull it out with. So that's why I left this side open. And you could use another piece of paper for this. You could use, I did lace on this one, and then I did, this is actually the Tim Holtz fabric tape that I did on this one, and I just didn't take the backing off of it. So I think for this one, I will go ahead and do lace again. There's my lace. I just feel like that fits really well. Excuse me. Sorry, needed a little bit of water there. And basically what I'm gonna do is cut it 3 inches so that it's basically the same size as the front. And then I need to know where to punch my holes. So I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch in on either side and just put a little mark so I know where that is. So it's basically on this blue line here and just inside this blue line here. And I will just grab one of my larger needles. Please don't poke yourself when you're doing this. And I'll push that through. And I'm trying to get it as centered on this little box as I can. So it was about right here. And that looks about centered to me. And then I need 2 brads. Whoops, that's 3. Okay. So this is the kind of not so fun, slightly boring part. I get it. We're gonna want to decorate these. That's the more fun part. But I'm just gonna put them in. Oops. Need that to turn a little bit because I really suck at opening these for some reason. There we go. Okay. If I was doing if I wasn't folding this piece down, I'd use hole reinforcers for this, but at this point in time, it's not necessary because we're going to reinforce it by gluing that other piece of paper down. So why am I so awful at this? Okay, there we go. So there's that, and then you get this cute little pull out here, and all we have to do is glue this extra side down. So if you don't want the inside of the box to be white, use a double-sided paper, or maybe do some stamping and stuff on the inside. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. But then you just fold that down. Make sure you get it nice and stuck. You got your little pull out here, and then, whoops, there we go. Slip that in there, and now you have this cute little box. I'm thinking I should have inked up the edges. And I think I like the cardstock better. So this one's much more sturdy than this one is, but it depends on what you're using it for. So I'm going to continue with some cardstock, I think. Yeah, I'm going to continue with some cardstock. But I'm going to go ahead and off camera put a couple of these together. See, this one's kind of bowing out the back. It's because it's not as stiff. The paper's not as stiff. But I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of these off camera, and then I will be back with you to show you how I'm going to decorate them. Yeah, see you then. Okay, so I have finished my boxes. I actually went ahead and decided to go with a cardstock for the little pull tab instead of the lace or the tape. And I like them. I think they're very cute, and we do need to do some decorating on them. However, I realized because I was showing you guys how to make the boxes and it was kind of more tutorial style, the video's gotten too long. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it here for today, and then we will come back and we will finish decorating the boxes on another day. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, maybe got some ideas for some gifts to give to your family, and yeah, thank you so much. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!